be looking for Wi-Fi, please turn that device off, because it tends to suck up bandwidth, even if it's only looking for it, and that's what causes us to lose connection. So for the last couple of months, we've been talking about spiritual mind treatment, and we're going to talk about it again today from a slightly different perspective. We use the analogy of the seed planted in the soil a lot, like to the point of ad nauseum. It's like, one more time with the seed. And something occurred to me this week in a certain way that had never occurred to me before, that made the seed more potent. Now, we talk about the seed in the sense of we're doing a spiritual mind treatment, we're planting that mental seed into the mental soil. The question is, when you're planting a tomato seed, what do you believe about the seed?
It's going to bring a tomato.
You believe that when you put that in the dirt and fertilize it and water it and all this kind of stuff, you're gonna get a tomato plant. You believe that about the seed. That was my aha. What do I believe about the seed? I believe that it will bring forth that which that's what it's designed for.
It's not going to be a pepper.
It will not be a pepper. It will not. Now, if you plant your tomato seed really close to a pepper plant, you will end up with spicier tomatoes. It's the fact.
Really?
Try it, yes. If you want spicy salsa, plant your tomatoes and your jalapenos together. Yeah, it's true. Test it. Try it out. Don't take my word for it.
It actually is working.
Okay.
I planted a seed and it's growing into what I want it to be.
Oh, fantastic. Would you like to come up and testify?
Not yet. I'll let it grow some more.
Okay. So a spiritual mind treatment is a seed planted in the soil of creative mind. And the person doing that spiritual mind treatment, their only responsibility is to speak that treatment with conviction. With the same conviction, with the same belief that says, I believe a tomato plant's going to come out of this tomato seed. As teeny tiny as this little seed is, right? A tomato plant will still come out of it. As small as an acorn is, an oak tree still comes out of it. And as small as the little tiny fleck of a seed is that is a giant sequoia tree, all of the DNA necessary for that to come forth comes forth from that itsy bitsy little thing, coupled with the soil and the right conditions. It doesn't matter if you believe in the seed or not when you're planting a tomato or a sequoia. It's simply going to grow. What matters with your belief is when you're planting your own spiritual seeds, do you believe they're going to grow? Now, come on. Science of Mind, page 207. It is sometimes thought that in giving or receiving a treatment, one must experience some physical sensation. There is no peculiar sensation which accompanies a treatment. Neither is it necessary that the practitioner should feel anything other than the truth of the words that he speaks or she speaks. I don't have to feel anything other than the fact that the words I'm saying are the absolute, irrevocable truth. And when I feel that, when I know that, then the treatment's done already. And I used to wonder about, well, we say, and so it is, as if it's already done. And we always use our affirmations in the present tense as if they're already so. And I wondered, as I was growing in this philosophy, how that could be. How I could wrap my head around the thought that it's already done when I can clearly see that it's not. And this is what came to me. The continuum of time is something that we created so that we could measure things. But in the divine, there is no time, which means there's no past to think about, no future to think about. There's only now, and it's all happening all right now, and it's impossible to wrap your head around that. And yet, in the infinite mind of God, it's all happening simultaneously. So when you're in that absolute space of giving a spiritual mind treatment, and you say, and so it is, it's done, you're giving that in that first person, declaring, this is so. It is so in the divine. Already. And then we get to have the human experience of watching it come about. But it is absolutely so in the mind of God, and that's where everything is created. So all you have to know, all you have to believe is that it's done in God, and it may take a minute, but it's going to be done in the flesh as well, as long as you continue to believe that. Next, right thought, constantly poured into consciousness, will eventually purify it. Discord might be likened to a bottle of impure water. Healing might be likened to the process of dropping pure water into the bottle, one drop at a time, until the whole is clean and pure. Now, there was a wonderful illustration that accompanied the outline this week, and I thought very seriously about bringing all of the supplies and doing this for you. But then I thought about egg and decided I would not. But I'm going to describe the experiment for you. For those of you who were not here, there was a Sunday where I had some raw eggs in a Ziploc bag, and I hit them onto the podium here, and Bill Mock was a lucky recipient of egg as it went splaying out the bottom of the bag and ripped. And since this experiment required chlorine bleach, I decided I'll describe it. So, you have a glass of water, and in that glass of water, you put a few drops of food coloring. Whatever you like. Let's go with blue. And you make it so it's nice dark blue. You take a little bit of chlorine bleach and drop it in there, stir it around, and it lightens the water. It doesn't make it go away completely, but it's like that first belief, yes, this is going to work. Next, you take a little bit of baking soda and sprinkle that in and stir it up. Crystal clear. Crystal clear. Go home and try it. Safely, wear white so you don't bleach any of your stuff. It works. I did it at home and I was like, son of a gun. Now that doesn't mean I want to drink that water, but it provides an important illustration. When you put in proper belief, belief in the good, belief in what it can be, it erases all traces of what has been already. You are not bound to keep things the way they've been. You're allowed to change them. That's the whole premise of our philosophy. That's why it's called New Thought. You can replace the old thought, the old experience, with a new thought and have a new experience. Next, always come to a complete conclusion when giving a treatment. Always feel that it is done, complete and perfect, giving thanks for the answer, as if it were already objectified. Each treatment should be repeated daily until a healing takes place. If it takes 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, or 5 years, the treatment must be kept up until a healing is accomplished. Now, we've had an experience here where we set an intention. We did basically a treatment about it, and the treatment was answered, and then we kept doing the treatment. So I'll tell you the story. This is how it went. We did our co-creation weekend. We created our sacred covenant, which in a way is a spiritual mind treatment. It is setting forth that which we want to attract. Now, it just so happened that the person who was going to fulfill that role was here. It was me. And this story is not really about me. The story is about the fact that as we kept reading that sacred covenant, people were really resistant. They wanted to stop. They're like, we've already done it. Why do we have to keep reading it? Now, I firmly believe that had the new minister that was coming to our center not been here, we would not have had one iota of resistance to repeating that treatment over and over and over until that person showed up. But there was something in the consciousness of our congregation that knew that their new minister was already here, and they wanted to stop praying because the prayer had already been answered. Think about it. Why keep praying for something that's already done? On the other hand, there are times when we do a treatment for something, and it does not appear to happen right away. I got a story about a lady who had a cat. Most people can find the furry, warm value in a warm, fuzzy kitten. And this lady loved her cat, and her cat's name was Colette. Now, Colette developed diabetes. So she took her cat to the vet, and the vet told her she was going to have to give insulin shots twice a day. She had to measure the amount of sugar in her urine by putting this little dipstick into her excretions. And the woman knew that it was not going to be the insulin that cured her cat. She knew it was going to be spirit that was going to cure her cat. And so each day, as she would dip the dipstick into the excretion, she knew that as it was going down, and it was steadily going down, that she had that much more that she needed to believe in, and then just that much more to believe in, and then just that much more to believe in, until that much more to believe in, until suddenly her belief had covered all of the dipstick, and there was no sugar out of range on the dipstick. 2 months, she goes back to the vet, not a single sign of diabetes in the cat. But she had to do that every single day, the whole way through. And the answer came. See, there's times when we do a treatment and we think, okay, well, I've done the treatment, I'm just going to go about my business, I don't ever have to think about it again. I'm telling you, the words of Ernest Holmes are telling you, keep doing the treatment until you see the demonstration. Part of my own spiritual practice in the morning is to look back and say, okay, what have I been doing treatment for? Both for other people and for myself. And if it hasn't been answered, I keep treating. So if on any given Sunday it's my turn to take home the yellow cards, until I know that that is answered, I continue to do treatment for it. Now, I was also taught when I was taking my practitioner studies that you don't go to the person and say, did it work?
That's right.
Because that shows a belief in doubt. I had a really interesting process this morning, which most of you have already been exposed to through the morning affirmation. I was watching the sunrise, and I realized the sun isn't actually rising. The earth is turning. So it appears to rise because we're turning toward it. In the same way, when we turn toward spirit, when we turn toward the divine, that's what comes into focus, right? That's what begins to light our way. When we turn away from it, that's when we begin to see shadows. Because this brilliant light of spirit is now behind us, and of course, it's not really behind us. This is just a metaphor. We're casting our own shadow, the shadow of doubt, because we've turned away from the truth and what can actually answer our treatment. So it behooves us not to pretend that there aren't conditions, because there are, because we're human bodies and they're going to have conditions. But we need to stay focused on the truth of it. Need the fan. So, what kind of examples might we look at to see some kind of determined, I'm going to do this every day, I'm going to believe this every day until it comes through? The first thing that came to mind for me were athletes, like Olympic level athletes. Michael Phelps was asked why he never skipped a Christmas or a birthday or a holiday of any kind, that he swam every single day. And he said he didn't know what his potential was unless he gave it everything he had. And so if we're going to set forth some vision, you know, if you want to win the gold medal in the life of yourself, you have to give it everything you've got every single day. And that's the way that we give it the power to our treatments, is by saying, I know it's there. I know it's there. I know it's there. I know it's coming. And we're so tempted to say, I know it's coming. The problem is, our bodies and our minds believe us. If you say, I know it's coming, then you will always have the experience of it coming, but never having arrived. It will just always be coming. So if you pray that you will get a new car, and you just say, I know that new car is coming, you will continue to have the experience of a new car coming, but not of a new car arriving. So Michael Phelps got into the water and swam every day so that he could have the experience of gold medal. In the same way, we get to get into our head every single day and ask ourselves, what is it that I want to create today? And so doing, we get to bring that new experience into our physical experience, knowing that it's already existed in the mind of God. So, there has to be, I'm guessing, something in your life that you would like to experience a little bit differently. Anybody?
I have a question. So I know when some people talk about like the manifesting process, and you write something and then you let it go so you don't add resistance to it, like you want a part of that. How does this work with that? Because I'm just thinking, if you have something in your life part where you let it go, but you still need to bring it up every day to see it manifest.
Thank you. It's a really excellent question. I don't know if you all heard it. The question was, we do a release. We say, I know that this is done. So then why keep doing treatment if you know that it's done? My answer would be, it's not done until you see it. And so coming back to the treatment, Ernest tells a story of doing treatment for somebody until they were healed. Now in his mind, they were already healed, but it had not manifested in their body yet. And so he assumed, rightly so, that he had not quite gotten the belief right in his treatment, and so he continued to refine it and do it again. And so, yes, release it in the sense of, I'm not going to be in angst over this, but repeat it as an affirmation of, this is the truth of my life. Does that make sense?
Releasing is a process.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you have to, you're always holding a little something back. And then as you continue to do the treatment and release, you release more and more.
Right. So when you've decided to change a condition through a spiritual mind treatment, don't give up. If it doesn't come to be in that first time, do it a second time. Do it a 10th time. Do it a 100th time. If you know that what you're treating for is the absolute highest and best for you, don't stop treating until it manifests. Never desert principle. not even for a special occasion. You know, so many times we think, well, I'm just going to do this treatment, and I'm going to go on about my business, and I've left it, or maybe I take it over here to Kathy and say, all right, I need you to do this for me because I can't do it myself. You can know for me, and until it demonstrates for me, I hope you continue to know for me. Right? So, what would it take for you to believe that every single time you planted a tomato seed, you were going to get a tomato plant? Not very much, right? I mean, we believe, like, all things considered, it's a viable seed. Every single time we plant that seed, it will bring forth a plant. So the question is, what do you believe about the seeds that you're planting in the divine? Let's pray. Recognizing only the one life, the perfect life. Recognizing that it is the only thing that has ever been and ever will be. I know that everything that needs to happen has already happened. And all that needs to be done is for us to bring our attention to it. All that needs to be done is for us to bring our awareness to the divine. And so I affirm for each and every one of us that Spirit is alive and well within us, that it is the sun in our sky, that we are looking to it for our leading and our guiding, and that we have confidence in the natural law of God, just as we have confidence in the laws of nature. And so with confidence, total confidence, knowing that Spirit has always had it all handled and has it handled now, I can simply let it be, knowing that it is done, knowing that it is so. And so it is. Next, for those of you who might have missed a week or something, we have a new offering affirmation. So take a look at it. Don't just start saying the other one. Just talking on your own. I'm going to invite Rep back up. He'll be doing another song during our offering. I invite the ushers to come forward to collect our offering. And I invite you to take your offering in your hand and read our affirmation with me. I freely and joyously give from the abundance and fullness of my overflowing wealth, knowing my gift goes with love as it touches and blesses the world. And so it is. And if you're joining us on Facebook, you can go to cslbycelia.org and give a donation there.